Welcome back to Plug and Play EV. I'm Steve, and in this one we'll be looking at the Volvo XC40 Recharge, taking a trip up to Lake Placid and the Adirondacks in New York for some full foliage, and also getting some first impressions of the Volvo XC40 Recharge. So let me turn you around here. And this should all be fairly familiar. Volvo interiors looking not too dissimilar to most of the combustion lineup range. Once you get in, you get a good feel for the car. It automatically starts right up. Nice gauge cluster, first of all. This stuff is really good. Got used to this in the Polestar 2, and it's something I really like. I enjoy having the map in there. It's a little bit odd at first. This is how it defaults on the Google Maps. So you get this kind of, it's actually quite a high view. I would be more used to saying around here for navigating, and then if you navigate or drive off screen, you need to recenter. I'm sure there's a way to change that. I haven't done it yet. But part of that is that you have this much closer up display here. And that's one of those things I really enjoy. You know, one of the things we've always said, off-putting for me at least about Teslas, is lack of a display there. And weirdly, that's going to be the case in the Volvo EX30. They've gone away with that. It's obviously part of a cost-cutting measure to keep that down to its mid-$30,000 price point. But something that would put me off, despite all the good features and the impressive specs of the EX30. But first impressions, it's obviously, you'd expect, really nice interior. You've got lots of nice little finishing touches. My kids particularly enjoyed this. Kind of cool kind of crack pattern in the door. Very premium feeling door handles. Everything is soft touch around the door frame. Hard plastic here, but then you get back up to slightly harder up top, but again, you're not going to be fondling that too much. So mainly where you are going to touch the surfaces, they're soft, pleasant, and a nice place to be. Driving column is pretty responsive. It's a firm steering setting. There's a bunch in here. Once you go to the vehicle settings, it's quite familiar if you're into Polestars or obviously Volvos. But the drive modes, off-road mode I have not tried. We haven't needed that yet. Pilot assist is the Volvo adaptive cruise and lane keeping assist, all that kind of stuff. So you've got a bunch of those things. Just a small number of driving dynamics down here. One pedal drive, which we've got on. I haven't figured out if we can switch that off somewhere else yet, on and off, because there have been times on the highway where I've wanted to turn it off and had to go in here, but we'll figure that out along the way. Steering feel firm. Haven't changed this up too much. It does actually feel pretty good. It does feel quite tight around corners, somewhere between the IONIQ, which is quite a soft and floaty driving, unless you stick it into sport mode, and the more stiff and kind of rail-like Tesla Model Y. So somewhere between those two, I would say, and all the better for it, I guess. But not to go deep into the infotainment, but you do now have YouTube, which I think was a relatively recent thing, because I remember Walter at the Network Architect channel, which we maybe can bring up here. This is all not me logged in or anything, it's just stuff you find, so good advert for his channel. He actually has an XC40 Recharge as well, so there's a bunch of, as well as his Cadillac Lyric, so a bunch of good stuff there. But he had the coverage on this, and YouTube seems like a nice thing.
I'm at a Pilot Travel Center in White Pine, Tennessee. This is number 4.
That's not too bad. I mean, you kind of would get a better picture there, obviously, if it was landscape, but we've got the portrait set up and it seems to work just fine. Something to do while you're charging at fast chargers. You've got Waze, you've got Spotify, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, not Android Auto because it's Android Automotive baked in. All good stuff. Really like this system. Lots of good things to say about it, and that would be something that would gravitate me towards Volvo, Polestar, GM cars, because they're going to have this too. This native Android Automotive is a really good system. Like it a lot. Around that 240, 250 range, I kind of find it a little bit arbitrary. Once you get to that mid 200s, it's going to go down on highway. It's going to go up in local driving, as long as the one pedal driving is good and regenerative braking effective, and it is in this car. Really well calibrated. I felt the same in the Polestar 2. Very nice, come to a full stop. It's very, very simple to drive, you know, just in the same way as the Bolt was. You just turn it on or off. If you like one pedal driving, you have it on, and it feels very natural, very heavy deceleration, and you modulate that with your accelerator pedal, as in one pedal driving should be. So very happy so far with the general driving, displays, interior cabin. Only thing I would say, and this is just my personal preference, this is not as intrusive as the Polestar, which goes up a little higher and is harder plastic all over, I think, but it's I just don't like a tunnel here. I would prefer to have more open space here. There's nothing I can really store beyond these kind of small cubbies down the side there. So that being said, although center console isn't my favorite thing to have dominate the middle, this is a pretty nice application of one. It's got decent sized cup holders here with the little adjustable push buttons, so large cups can fit in, but it does still support the smaller cups. USB-C, 2 of those, so that's a much more modern natural fit than what we've got in the IONIQ. Gear shifter is small, doesn't really get in the way. Got a park button here, just very simple, reverse forward, drive backward, and no problems there. Climate controls, all this stuff, most of it ends up in the center tablet here, so that just depends whether you like that kind of approach or if you prefer more buttons, but there are not that many here, so until you get to the steering wheel where you have pretty standard pilot's assist, set cruise control, set speeds, change the mode, all that kind of stuff, speak to voice activate. The vents are really nice kind of physical touches. They look good, feels very kind of premium as you would expect. These work pretty well as far as I've seen so far. It's getting colder here. We started much warmer earlier this week, but it's kind of plummeted in the last day or so, so we'll start to see the heated seats and those kind of things, heated steering wheel. Maybe we'll give those a try now that it's cooling down. Really nice seats, do like them a lot. The bolstering is excellent, nice little kind of leathery accents in places, but there's also an Alcantara suede type finish, which is really nice. Very significant headrests that just feel very natural as you sit down. It's really comfortable seating. Enjoyed the couple of 100 miles up here to the Adirondacks. And then some little innovations. You have this little bin here, which is like a flip top, and I think it comes out so you can kind of take out your trash, dump it in wherever, which is good because sometimes charging stations do not have that, in fact probably more often than not. So you can take this with you as you go to the restroom, then just pop it back in here for the next part of your trip. Always very good. We use trash bags and, you know, plastic bags, paper bags, whatever, for the kids, and it'd be nice to have something like that. You got the continuation of that kind of fractured plastic kind of feel here, which again, it's a nice touch. It's actually, you know, seems like it would be a little bit of a jarring break from the more kind of soft materials, but it's pretty nice. Little hanger here for bags, I guess. Yeah, and that can be put back in, so actually that's a nice little practicality. Got your pen, fairly decent size. That's not that big actually. I may have spoken too soon. Yeah, it's not huge, but it's enough to keep your papers. So not bad at all. These bins are huge. That will fit a full tablet, laptop, map if you're in the old school and still carry your paper maps, but you know, that could be useful in the backcountry. Then a smaller cubby up here for phones or kind of light items. And yeah, overall I'd say very nice. I kind of, you know, you would expect it. It's not any wild design characteristics. You don't get many of the things that you would get in that Polestar kind of little additions like the North Star up here or some of the more flashy things, but it's a Volvo, you know, it's here for comfort, safety and premium put together package, and that's definitely what you get. So you just hear the thunk here. Pretty good. Not quite as chunky as maybe the German manufacturers, but definitely solid. And immediately, as soon as I get back here, I start to feel a little more cramped. So as we get here, you can see this is seat is set for me up front, and this is my legs, you know, decent amount of space. It's a little more confined than we would have in the IONIQ 5, but enough to move around, get comfortable and feel like this is a good place to be. Headspace, because of the open shade, which is a panoramic kind of roof, you get the dual phase. It can shade, but it can also open up as a sunroof, so you get the best of all worlds there, and you can see some full foliage gathering on top there as well. Definitely a nice look up to the front from here, but then you see the downside of this kind of hump here that's going to really straddle. It's a little closer in the back here as well. You've got you know, that's set up for someone to sit comfortably in front, so again you could get the same kind of legroom as I've got, but then this middle one ends up having to straddle the other side because of the legacy transmission tunnel, which they may have put some batteries in there. I'll have to check the specs and the schematics, but even if they did, it's just not a great design choice. You don't want to have that tunnel here. The whole point is to get that flat floor, get the skateboard design working for you, and have that a little bit more space. Okay, so you got your USB-Cs covered. That's good, so they don't get so much schmutz in them when it's not in use. You've got rear heated seats, which is great. Air vents, easily controllable. You've got this pretty standard net on both seats. Smaller cubbies back here. Again, the door's smaller. It's not as large a kind of aperture here. You've got this dual kind of window, so not too bad. You've got some hooks here to help you out. It's pretty great. Lights, a nice soft touch. Just activate and deactivate. You've got your door lock back here, windows, not on because the car's turned itself off, but get the idea. But pretty small down here. You've only got this little space. I guess there's an umbrella here, or whatever this is. Just enough space to squeeze that in, and maybe a kind of small drink, but not tons there. And again, just kind of emphasizing the fact that this back area is a little bit more cramped. It's not going to be a vehicle that's going to give you the most space compared to some of the other pure EV designs on the market. But if you are only using this rear row occasionally, or if you have smaller people, kids in car seats, that kind of thing, there should be a decent amount of space. Although again, the door space is small, so getting those car seats in and out may be a little more trouble than some models. So you can hear the beeping. That's the IONIQ's auto tailgate, which we can look at briefly, I guess. I stand near it. 3 beeps and it will go up and open for me, no kicking. And there's a decent amount of trunk space. For the Volvo, I believe it's kick. I could be wrong. Maybe it needs to be locked. Yeah, there we go. Very receptive, easy to do, and you can see already a good amount of space back here. Lots of space to tuck down the side. Comes with this, I believe, as a protector. Pass through, as we said, this goes through. You can use that for skis. That's the more natural Nordic aspect of it, but also timber in the US, or long items you're trying to carry from IKEA may well help out there if everything else you have is small. These, if I recall, have a little fold flat, so that's automatic. You push this little button down here. That actually is the same area that pushes the seat forward, but that gives you either more view across the back, or you know, just a little more space if you're trying to put stuff up over the top, and that saves you having to pull out the headrests for the rear. It's a smart thing. First aid kit, velcroed up so you're not taking up any of the space right here. Always nice. Pretty decent sized side cubbies, so that is good for your kind of, you know, items that you don't want to flop around. You had liquid in there, which it's empty at the moment, but you wouldn't want that flopping around. So nice touch there. Got a 12 volt back here. Have that in the IONIQ as well. That's nice to see. Good for the rear tires if you're trying to inflate. Got some hooks right there, and on this side for the shopping bags, so it will fold up in a kind of concertina effect like that. It's a little bit, I think that's the cargo shade actually, so that would normally go right there. So the space you get here should be a little more flat, but you've got, again, those fold up, so you have 3. This is a little lighter than the more solid plastic ones on the outsides, but that would hold your bags, the heavier ones. And then this could give you a little lighter bag holding, then this section back here, still pretty substantial, really well designed for a grocery run. Stuff back here, not going to flop around all over the trunk while you're driving, then the bags are taken care of by these. So very practical, kind of reminds me of the Skoda ENIAC that we saw in the UK, lots of little touches. I'll put the video for that up in the top corner here. But it's there's a lot of space. Even if this is all just to do it, you get 2/3 of the trunk just from taking that out. You'd have to figure out a flat solution for this maybe, or take it out and put something down there. You could probably store bedding down there if you're camping, then a more flat piece over the top. Then that's all stored away for a pretty nice sizable trunk. So you do just the different design cues. You sacrifice a little bit of the rear seat space in this model and get more flexibility in back, more practical cargo area, but very nice. And then I guess you can just kick down there and it will close up.
So despite some of those internal limitations of design being based off the combustion engine platform of the XC40, there is a lot to like externally to Volvo's design language, from the iconic rear lights to the front Thor hammer design and then the spacious practical layout. But if you are looking for something that is a little more futuristic, that has more of an EV characteristic, this is probably not going to be the one for you, as it is based on those combustion equivalents. So maybe look to a future Volvo model, or consider Polestar, which is the all-electric performance arm of Volvo and has a lot of the things that you like about that Swedish kind of minimalist design, but bringing it into an all-electric platform. Overall though, Volvo XC40 Recharge, perfectly capable vehicle. You have the C40 Recharge if you're looking for more of a fastback shape and don't mind losing some of the boxy hatch luggage space, but overall it looks good and is something that isn't going to be too out of place on the road. If you're looking for something a little more conventional that doesn't scream EV, this is going to be a good option for you.
So that'll do it for our first look at the Volvo XC40 Recharge. What do you think? Is this something that is worth adding to the EV lineup for different shoppers at that premium end? Or is it just another combustion conversion that needs to be binned off in favor of a true EV platform and all of the things that we like about that? Let us know down in the comments and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers!